When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
"This is ludicrous."
But that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is Coach Sydney Carter, and you are listening to the Success Playbook.
What's up, everybody? You are now listening to the Success Playbook Podcast, where we talk about pop culture, life and career success, and of course, we're going to talk about who got dunked on the night before. I'm your host, Chanel S. Reynolds, and I've been in the sports industry for several years. My goal is to take what I've learned from years of dominating the sports industry as a Black woman to help my listeners defy the odds and level up in life and career. Now, let's dig into this week's episode.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to the Success Playbook Podcast, y'all. I have such a living legend on today's podcast episode. She is the assistant coach and director of player development at University of Texas, none other than Coach Sydney Carter. Hey, Coach.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic, as always.
Really excited to have you here. So, do you prefer, like, Coach Sydney, Coach Carter? Like, what's your preference?
It's whatever you comfortable with. Coach,
Okay.
Sydney, Sid, it don't matter.
Okay. I feel like we're friends in my head, so can I call you Coach Syd?
That's fine. That'll work.
Okay. Let's go. I am getting flashes of nails, so let's just do a real quick nail feed.
Yes.
Love it.
So these are brand
Okay.
for me. Because, I usually do, like, designs and everything. But I was like, I did designs all year. I'm going to go with something classic. So I did a little red bottom look.
I'm here for it.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So again, I'm really excited about today's episode. But before I dig into some of the questions, I am going to play a little quick game of rapid fire with you. Are you down for the challenge?
I think I'm up for it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Awesome. For all of my new listeners out there, I'm going to present Coach Syd with two options. She's going to pick one of those options, and she's going to tell us why she chose that answer. So the first one's super easy. Podcasts or books?
Podcast.
Okay, what are you listening to?
I haven't listened to anything in a while, but the last one I was listening to was, what is her name? She goes by, her name's Mona. This is going to kill me that I don't know, but it's funny. She's like always like talking about like real life topics and giving like she's from like, I think like maybe Detroit or Baltimore or something like that. She is crazy. Okay. But she gives like her opinion is funny.
I'm here for it. All right. You got to send that to me after this. Playing or coaching?
How you gonna do me like this? I'm going to go with coaching. My days of playing are over.
Okay, and we'll dig into why you love coaching and all that good stuff. But okay. Did you grow up watching 90s sitcoms? Black 90s sitcoms at that? Okay. Martin or Fresh Prince?
Martin all day. I have it on DVD every season.
Same. You got the game?
Absolutely. I'm Martin.
Yes.
I'm Martined out.
I love it. I'm here for it. Sneakers or heels?
Heels.
Yes.
I love, like, if I could wear a heel to the grocery store, I would. It's just not comfortable.
I'm a heel girl. I agree. Thank you for that. See,
that was easy.
That
was good.
Thank you for playing our game. Well, again, let's dig into some of the questions. Let's start off with your childhood. Who is Coach Syd?
Coach Syd started a long time ago with this. Like I started playing basketball when I was 4, running circles around our little boys I was playing with. But Coach Syd is a daughter. Coach Syd is a sister, a former basketball player. Coach Syd is her. Like that's who Coach Sydney is herself.
Yes.
But
and where are you from?
I'm from Dallas.
Okay.
So born and raised in Dallas. Grew up in a family of 7. I'm the 5th of 7, so I have 4 sisters, 2 brothers. I am like me and my mom are like BFFs. I'm a big mama's girl. And I got a plethora of nieces and nephews now. So yeah, now I'm like the auntie that don't have no kids and I'm like in charge of all everybody's training. If they want to play soccer or basketball, like obviously I'm designated for it these days. I didn't sign up.
And you're a dog mom? Well, we talked about your dog before we started airing. So you're a dog mom?
Yes, a proud dog mom. I have a 1-year-old mini golden doodle. Her name is Charlie, no E. Everybody always put an E on it. I'm like, it's no E. But she is like my everything. She's like the best thing that ever happened to me. She's amazing. She's crazy, but she's amazing.
I love it. And then, so tell me about, like, where did your love for basketball begin?
So it began, like I said, my mom put me in basketball when I was 4. So basketball has been a part of my life, like, ever since then. I come from a really athletic family. Everybody in my family played basketball. My mom didn't, but she made me play. Ironic. But, you know, after, like, I realized, like, as I got older, like, I tried other sports with basketball, like volleyball. I ran track. Like, I did all those things when I was young, but, you know, like, when God puts something in your life and you just know, like, that's what you're supposed to do. And so I always knew, like, basketball was where I was going to be successful. And so I followed his lead at the end of the day.
Yeah, so you felt like the tugging toward basketball.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I liked doing volleyball. I liked track, but at the end of the day, I didn't want to run for the rest of my life. And volleyball was just something that I picked up because I just wanted to see if I could, like, be good at it. And I was good at it, but I knew it wasn't long term for me. Okay.
And then, so let's pivot to, where did you go to school?
So I went to high school in DeSoto. It's like a really, like, popular school for athletes to come out of. And then in college, I went to Texas A&M University.
Awesome. And so let's pivot into your time at Texas A&M University. Yep. So you were a basketball star.
Yep.
Student athlete. Star. I mean, we don't humility is for, we appreciate humility, but we have confidence, we have confidence because we know where our help comes from, but we just gonna own all the accomplishments. You are a star, and you were a basketball star.
For sure. Yeah, so went to A&M, got a scholarship to play basketball. In the time we're in now where, like, people are switching schools left and right, I went there all 4 of my years. Won a conference title championship in 2010. And then won a national championship, which is so hard to do. My junior year in 2011, I was a 3-year captain. I won multiple awards. So I had a fantastic college career.
Amazing. And you went into the WNBA draft?
Yes. So I got drafted in the 3rd round in 2012. And the unique thing about my story is, so I played 4 years in the WNBA after college, and then played 7 years overseas. And so the unique thing about my story is people that are drafted in the 3rd round, typically no one expects you to make it. No one expects you to make a team, have an illustrious career. And I did. And so I'm so proud of, like, that I was able to beat the odds and the stereotypes of you were picked in the 3rd round. You were, you know, I wasn't supposed to be there compared to everybody else, but I always knew I was supposed to be there. So I think that was a separator for me.
So where did that knowing come from? Like, did it come from your upbringing? Did it come from things that your mother instilled into you, your faith? Like, where did that knowing come from?
I definitely think it started with my mother, because my mother is the one that instilled in me all the qualities that she had. Like, I mean, my mom is like my everything. And so, obviously she taught me at a young age how to be confident, how I wasn't made to fit in. And, you know, she told me about, like, how strong I need to be in my faith. And so those are all things that I have to credit to my mom, because she raised all of us to be that way. And I know that had to be hard, you know, to raise 7 kids and to make sure there's a standard set throughout all 7. And so, you know, everybody in my family has been taught that by my mom. So she's the real MVP, as Kevin Durant said.
Yes. What's your mom's name?
Susie.
Shout out to Miss Susie.
Susie.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Miss Susie out there, raising 7 kids to be amazing people in the world.
Yes, so she's amazing. I wish she was on here right now to just say hey, but Y'all can tell her hey and when y'all see this.
Yes, hey in the comments. Hey, Miss Susie. So, Coach Syd, who are your top 5 favorite athletes?
Ooh. So when I grew up, I was watching FloJo. That's why, like, I think it was natural for me to have my nails like this. And, like, FloJo was just, like, you know, the it girl. She didn't, like, want to fit in. So love me some FloJo.
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
This is ludicrous.
but that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Kobe Bryant is my all-time favorite. I was a big Kobe Bryant fan. I would listen to his interviews and he was speaking Spanish. I don't know a lick of Spanish, but I liked hearing him talk. So I love Kobe. Serena Williams is obviously up there because she's just a trailblazer in everything that she does. I love Diana Taurasi because she just don't care. She's like, you know, arguably one of the best basketball players we've ever seen on the women's side. And she's just herself. Like, she could care less what you think. And then my last one would have to be, this is a tough one. I'm going to go with a gymnast, Simone Biles. Just because she, like, was the first to do it all around. Like, that's hard to do. And so I'm a big, like, you know, I'm a girl's girl. I love to see, like, women, like, truly, like, pave their own way. And so I love when women, like, shatter that glass ceiling and just do the spectacular and, you know, tell everybody, like, y'all thought I couldn't do this, but I did. And so that's what I love.
Yes, and prove them wrong like you did.
For sure. I mean, every day, like, women are always put in positions to have to, like, feel like we have to prove something to everybody when this is just what we possess. Like, this is normal for us. We're not doing nothing out of the ordinary. We are being ourselves. And every time we do something, like, we knew we could do it. So we just waiting on the rest of the world to catch up and understand women been doing this.
Yes. Awesome. Well, let's begin into the next segment of the show. And this is honestly one of my favorite parts. It is called Put Some Respect on My Name.
Okay. I like this already.
Now, you know, as Black women, especially Black women in sports, we are really taught to, you know, be humble and to not really boast about some of our accomplishments, but you have shattered glass ceilings. You are continually paving the way for people coming behind you. So I would love for you to share some of your favorite career highlights, whether it be from college, whether it be up until now. Just walk us through some of your highlights.
Well, obviously winning a national championship is a highlight of mine just because our team and our school had never done that. We had never been on that platform. And so we were like, people were asking us when I was there, like, are y'all just satisfied with being here? And so I can remember that time in my life thinking, I told the reporters, like, we're not in a Cinderella story. And so obviously that's a big part of my career. But I got to go to the pink pants. And that's because this is how I really feel about this. I have never even heard of the person that even brought up and thought that his posed question or opinion mattered so much where he had to ask the world if I was doing something appropriate. But that moment in my life lets you know that people are placed for a certain reason. And so a lot of people ask me all the time, like, well, how does it feel? And I'm like, I never wanted any of this. I never expected any of this to happen. But it was in my order. It was in my journey for this to happen. And so he did his job and now I'm doing mine. And so obviously that's a big part of my story is because I was standing in my power in my job and I was doing it so confidently in a male dominated field. And it was my time to lead and I was ready for it and I did it the right way. And so, obviously, like, that's probably one of the biggest moments in my life, because that's why I'm here with you today.
Yes. Let's unpack that a little bit more. So, for those who may not be aware, Coach Syd went viral for her amazing outfit that she wore on game day. Now, historically on game day, we hear about people wearing suits or, quote unquote, toning it down or whatever. But Coach Syd came out being her amazing self. So, Coach Syd, walk us through, number one, what's your motivation, like your fashion motivation? But number two, what were some of your thoughts when you were experiencing that virality?
Well, my motivation is just always wanting to put forth my best effort. I've always wanted to be first at everything, my mom said when I was a kid. And while I'm not in competition when I'm getting dressed, in my head, I'm dressing to win. I'm dressing to, if I want my players to put their best foot forward, I got to do the same thing. I am an example of what I'm asking you to do, because I can't confidently ask you to do something if I'm not doing it myself. And so, that's my motivation, is I want to put my best foot forward, because I know at the end of the day, I'm very prepared for whatever game, that we're preparing for. And I want my kids to feel the same way. I want them to see that it's okay to be you. And so that's the message that I'm always sending to my kids. And then as far as just how I felt towards, going viral in that moment and the negativity that came with it, I don't think I ever really paid attention to the negativity. Did I see it? Yes. But I chose to put my energy elsewhere, because there was a world of people that surrounded me and covered me. There was my family that was supporting me. There was women all over the country supporting me that I didn't even know and are still doing that today. The entire WNBA community rallied behind me. So there was women all over that I had that don't even know me. And they chose to come to my side. And so I was like, you know what? I got a band of women that appreciate what I'm doing. And so, that's just how I chose to look at it. I ain't got no time for the negativity.
Yes. And I love the message that it sent. Us as women, we can be in these male-dominated fields, and we can show up authentically as ourselves in our femininity, wearing lipstick, wearing sneakers or heels or whatever.
Yeah.
We can just show up.
Yeah, I think this is a prime example of taking up good space. You can choose whatever way you want to take up space, but at the end of the day, I was taking up good space, and it has inspired so many young women. It has inspired, women that are in the same profession as me to okay, if Sydney can do it, then I can. And that's what I'm happy to have been the one to hold that light and say, yeah, it's fun. If they want you to tone it down, turn it up. And that's fine. It's perfectly fine. I promise you.
I'm here for it. If they want you to tone it down, turn it up. Yeah. I feel like I'm in the locker room right now with you, Coach.
Our kids are always like, what you got for us today, Sydney? They think I'm always dropping gems. I'm like,
that was a gem. That was it. Okay. All right, let me refocus. So we talked a little bit about your coaching story, right? So what do you love the most about coaching?
I am so passionate about helping young people. And so I got to live out my dream. When I was growing up, I saw the Houston Comets back in the day, they were popular, and the WNBA has grown since then. So I knew I could have that as a dream and it be attainable. So many times now you see young women, they don't know what they want to do in life. They don't know if they want to play afterwards or not, and they don't know what they want to do afterwards. And so I just enjoy helping young people be, and in specific women, because I work with women. Mm-hmm. I love being able to help them become better people and better basketball players at the same time. So when they leave and they are a part of a program that I'm a part of, they're ready for whatever it is that comes their way. They're ready to handle the adversities of life, because life, everybody knows, is hard and it's not always perfect. And so they live in this bubble in college where everything is kind of perfect, other than the outside things that you deal with as a young adult. But the real world hit, you got to be ready. And so I just want to help them be able to live out their dream, whatever that is, and to be able to help them continue to prepare for life after basketball.
I love that. And Okay, so how are you kind of helping them prepare for life after basketball?
Well, I start them to think about like what else that it is that they're passionate about. Like I didn't start thinking about that until like maybe my mid-20s. And so I try to be to them what I didn't have or what I would have wanted. And so I have a very big open door policy. So a lot of them come and like speak to me in confidence. I try, if some of them are struggling with some things, like helping nudge them into the right direction and letting them know like it's okay not to be okay. Like everybody has heard that before. So like if you need help, I'm here to help you. I'm here to guide you in a place that you can go get help if I can't. Like, and so I think the main thing is like showing them you care. And it's not just about like, what can you do for me on the court?
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds, and I'm here with Keith, co-star of my upcoming film, If, only in theaters May 17th. Do you want to tell people the big news? All right, I'll do it. Sign up now and you'll get unlimited for $15 a month and 6 months of Paramount Plus Essential Plan on us. MintMobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 equivalent to $15 per month. Unlimited over 40 gigabytes per month. Face lower speeds. Videos at 480p. Active Mint customers by 531.24 get 6 months of Paramount Plus Essential Plan. Auto renews after 6 months. Offer ends May 31st, 2024. Separate Paramount Plus registration required. Terms and conditions apply if rated PG.
I'm very big on making sure that they know that I care about them as people. And I want to know, how is your day? How is school going? Have you thought about, other things that you're passionate about? We're in the age of NIL. So like, what are you doing for your brand? Do you want a brand? Are you aligning yourself with brands when you're doing stuff that you believe in? Or are you just doing it because somebody told you to do it? And so I kind of get them thinking about the things that are important that they don't necessarily think about as kids because they have other things to think about. But that's why I'm here.
I love that. And I love the fact that you're starting to prepare them. Because here's the thing, like, so my 9 to 5, I work for a front office of a sports team. And one thing that I really like to instill in student athletes is that, okay, if you don't make it into professional sports as an athlete, you can 100% take up space in the front office somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I love that you're like starting to hit them to that and really starting to kind of like teach them and mold them and show them the way with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many other ways that you can impact the game, whatever sport it is, and still like use that platform to elevate women's sports. Like my publicist, Alicia, my manager, Taylor, like those are women that are doing it with me as a basketball coach, but doing it behind the lines, doing it in other different ways. And so it could be in the form of a manager, a publicist, a journalist, people that are on TV commentating games. Like those are the other ways that you can get into it, and you don't have to dribble a ball one time to continue to elevate the women's game in any type of way.
Yes. Keep teaching them, Coach Syd. I love it. I'm here for it. So Coach, how do you define success?
Success to me is not defined by whether you win or not. Success to me is just a matter of, because you're going to experience some failure. Even with success, like I didn't win every game when we won the national championship. We lost 5 games that year. So I experienced some failure on my way to success. But I think when you know that you're putting in whatever work it is to continue to be successful, whether that is, like if you're wanting to build your own brand, like what are you doing? What type of content are you preparing yourself to put out there? Are you just throwing something together, or are you really taking the time to plan out, write a script? Like so many different examples that I can give, but are you really putting in the time and the effort to make sure that whatever it is that you want to do, you're doing it to the best of your ability, and you're going to make sure that at the end of the day, you do succeed? That is my definition of success, because you're doing the necessary steps. That isn't to say you're not going to experience some no's along the way or some failure, but are you going to let the no's and the failure take you 10 steps back, or are you going to use that as a learning lesson and then continue to move forward and build from that? So building off of failures is a part of success for me.
That's awesome. And you kind of segued into my next question. So here at the Success Playbook, we have this thing called, I actually wrote a book. It's called The Art of Taking L's, right? So how you perceive failure and how you allow it to thrust you into your next level of success. So I would love to hear about maybe your biggest perceived failure and how it pushed you into your next level of purpose.
Well, I think my biggest failure is when I got hurt at the end of my pro career, I retired. And I think it's an L or a failure for me because I knew that I still had more. But I think the reason it is a success story for me is because I got into coaching. But not only that, I was very aware that basketball had given me so much that if I'm waking up and I don't feel like I'm putting forth my best effort every day to get back to where I was before I got hurt, then I'm cheating the game. And so that's why it propelled me into being okay with retiring and making sure that I'm taking the necessary steps to become a coach, which is what I wanted to do. And so I put myself out there and applied for jobs and did all that stuff. And so it was my biggest failure at the time because I knew I had more to give to the game playing wise. But it ended up being one of my best success stories because it was just time.
Yeah. That's how you ended up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
5 years later.
Yeah, I think that's such an amazing story. And now you're impacting the lives of so many other women. So it's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of people don't, and I think, to piggyback off of it, I think it was a failure as well because I was in such a terrible place when I decided to retire, like in tears all the time. I thought I was depressed because like you feel like you're giving up on something that has always been so prominent in your life. And so that brings me back to, I knew I could affect the game in another way and that it was time. And so that's also another lesson I try to teach people is, like I said, it's okay not to be okay, but what are you going to do to get out of that? And so I took the steps to get out of it.
Yes, you took the L with grace.
I did. Whew, it was hard though.
So what advice would you give to your younger self?
Ooh, a lot of people don't know that when I was younger, because I had so many sisters, I thought that I was the ugly sister because you see them, my sisters knew how to like do their hair at such a young age. Like I was a tomboy. Like I just wanted to go out there and like get dirty, play with the boys. Like that's what I wanted to do. And so I think my younger self needed to know like who I am is it. That's like more than enough for me to be where I am supposed to be and to go where I'm supposed to go. And so my younger self needed to know I was built for this. Like I was made for this. And so I think my younger self probably would have doubted that, probably did doubt that at times, but my definition of beauty is different now, And so my younger self was a miss. Was immature.
That's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we have a lot of listeners who are aspiring to get into sports, whether it be on the coaching side or maybe be professional athletes. So I would love to hear maybe some advice that you would like to give to some of those aspiring women in sports, people in sports, whomever.
Well, I think the number one thing is that, like I said, you don't have to be a former athlete or anybody to cover the games that you want to cover or cover the sport that you want to cover. But like, make sure that you do your homework and you know the ins and outs of like everything that you're wanting to cover, whether it is by journalists or manager, public, those types of things. Make sure that you are writing the good stories as well as, the stories that maybe everybody wants to hear about, the drama in sports. Don't just focus on those things, especially in.
Hey everyone, it's Jalen here from the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. If you're a fan of business podcasts, then be sure to check out and subscribe to the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast, a show that covers business, career development, and tips to increase your income. And the best part, it's brought to you exclusively by the Revolt Podcast Network, anchored in hip-hop, powered by creators.
Women's sports, make sure you're writing the good stories as well. And then don't be afraid to network. Like you have no idea who knows who. And so, just make sure you're always putting your best foot forward. Like when you're out there and you're talking to people, build relationships, connect with people. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't have a job right now. And I don't know if you're looking for somebody to do what I do. but I'm here to sell myself to you. Don't be afraid to sell yourself and let people know like what you're capable of, because when you have confidence in yourself and you're talking to people and you're like, I do this, I do that, I'm good at this. Now they're going to have the confidence one day to be like, you know what? I met that person and I think that they can do the job. So like you have to stand strong in your abilities and know that selling yourself is not begging, and don't ever be too good for that, because people will remember that.
Selling yourself is not begging.
No, like I want to sell myself every time because I'm confident in what I bring to the table. And so you got to be confident in your value. And that's big.
I love it. Well, my spirit is so full. I was just in the locker room with Coach Syd. It's been gems on top of gems. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. This is amazing. Thank you.
Who needs an alarm in the morning when McDonald's has sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles and a breakfast cutoff? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.